Start. Now, Eye Patch the Pirate was ready for the draft. On the first pick of first round, he really should have passed. He picked up Justin Jefferson, who was the safest bet. Tweaked his hammy in week 5 and he still ain't playing yet. He needed first aid in the first game. First aid in the first game. First aid in the first game. You could buy a bus for all the rusty moves he made. Now, Steve the older shilling thought he had it made. The second pick of second round turned out pretty lame. Looked up stats for Jimmy G, thought Adams would have a year. 17 points week 5 through 9, realized his greatest fear. Now, for the Flaming Dragons, things got pretty dire. When on third pick of third round, he set himself on fire. He picked up Garrett Wilson, but kept the guy some slack. He's just not getting any help from the other Wilson, Zach. He needed first aid in the third game. First aid in the third game. First aid in the third game. You could buy a bus for all the rusted moves he made. Now, loser of the marbles was ready for his try. On the fourth pick of fourth round, he got a little high. Sorted ayahuasca, got Rodgers from the Jets. Then had to call up Caesar to refund him all his bets. Now, always the last place has really upped his game. On the fifth pick of fifth round, he lived up to his name. Didn't read the news reports, opted for Deshaun, who busted up his shoulder and now Jake's QB room is gone. He needed first aid in the fifth game. First aid in the fifth game. First aid in the fifth game. You could buy a bus for all the roster moves he made. Now, Mike from the West Coast was attracted by his kids. On the sixth round, I'll tell you what he did. He picked up Daniel Jones, who only started for 6 games. But in that time, he's only thrown 2 TDs. Wow, that's lame. Now, fourth pick is locked up and shooting way too high. On the seventh pick of seventh round, he thought Love had a guy. Tight end room was getting low, he said Luke had it made. One trip to the hospital has Musgrave in the grave. He needed first aid in the 7th game. First aid in the 7th game. First aid in the 7th game. You could buy a bus for all the roster moves he made. Now, Flanders up in Green Bay is cheering for the Vikes. On the 8th pick of 8th round, all I can say is yikes. Grabbed a Pittsburgh wide receiver has been a little blah. But what do you expect when your OC is Canada? Now, Wubba Wubba Boom Booms was going for it all. On the 9th pick of 9th, he kind of pulled a Paul. Thought he found a bargain there, called in on his phone. Picked a wide receiver who depended on Mac Jones. He needed first aid in the 9th game. First aid in the 9th game. First aid in the 9th game. You could buy a bunch for all the roster moves he made. Now, Dan the runner-up is trying to come back. On the 10th pick of 10th round, should have picked a quarterback, but he didn't. Picked a guy who was gonna be catching from Mahomes. Ugh. Held on to more way too long, and now he is unowned. Now, the outlier from Texas was drafting pretty late. The 11th pick of 11th round really wasn't great. Panicked at the tight end room, saw it getting thin. 25 receiving yards for Dulcich this season. He needed first aid in the 11th game. First aid in the 11th game. First aid in the 11th game. You could buy a plane for all the roster moves he made. Now, life's bad enough as the commissioner's wife. On the 12th pick of 12th round, she added to her strife. Found a rookie quarterback she thought she could pronounce. He got hurt and now he's out before the season counts. He needed first aid in the 12th game. First aid in the 12th game. First aid in the 12th game. You could buy a buck for all the roster moves he made. Nice job, Theo. No?
No, not happy.